All right, I think we are live. And let's see here. Are live. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and go into this. What's up, everybody? Um, I haven't done YouTube in a long time, and I say that every time I disappear and then come back. But we are back. We are live, and we're here. Um, let's go ahead and start. I'm gonna go ahead and let's talk about this media bias stuff. Um, there's a lot of Xbox guys or people claiming that there is media bias, and I will say that there is a media bias, and there has been a media bias for a while. There's always been with a lot of things. There's always been a bias with the media in general, not just in gaming. Um, and it just kills when people say, you know, you have tinfoil hat on, and there is no bias, or there's nothing like that. Um, I just think it's silly because, like I said, there's always been media bias, and for good reason. I wouldn't say for good reason, but there's a definite reason why there is a media bias against the Xbox One. Uh, and that reason is for clicks, it's for attention, it's for money. I think this is what it all boils down to: is it's for money. You have people creating accounts. I mean, bottom line for you guys that do YouTube, if you mention PlayStation or if you mention um, Xbox fanboys or talk bad about Xbox, you're going to get more hits than if you talk good about Xbox. Especially back in 2013, um, around that time, 2013, 2014. Um, and another thing that's funny to me is people say that there's no media bias, but then bring up the bias that was last generation with the PS3. That always like surprises me. Either there's a bias or there isn't, right? Um, but one big telling sign for me with the media bias stuff was the whole GameSpot interview and why they don't like, or not why, yeah, well, why they don't like the Xbox One or all this kind of stuff. I mean, they were talking about settings, and this is by GameSpot. This is a big, huge um, gaming media site, and they're just basically trashing the Xbox One. Like um, I've never seen that before. I've never seen a media outlet flat out bash another gaming console or whatever it was. I never seen that happen to that extent. It was just a little weird to me. If you can, go ahead and look at that video, or if you want to, go ahead and check it out. Where they're saying that they can't find the settings and it's just a silly console, not silly console, but they're just talking about not being able to go to 70, not being able to hit 720p. I mean 1080p and all this kind of stuff. So it was just weird. And then you have Greg and Colin, um, their show. These guys used to work with IGN. Okay, IGN is probably the biggest gaming site out of all of them, right? They used to work with IGN. They left IGN and created um, their own podcast. And guess what the podcast is called? It's called PlayStation I Love You. So you have for IGN. This is supposedly a non-biased media outlet. They left them to create their own podcast called PlayStation I Love You. Now, you mean to tell me that they've all of a sudden just started loving PlayStation? Absolutely not. These guys, especially the guy Colin, this guy embodies he's like he embodies like the PlayStation fanboy as a whole, in my opinion. Um, he likes everything Sony does. Almost finds zero fault in what they do. He helps spread misinformation, and I just think it's terrible. For instance, the latest misinformation that he's been spreading is, and I hear this a lot from people. Or they say this new Scorpio is going to be the next generation or Microsoft's next generation console, which is crazy because when they bring up the Neo, they say that the Neo is just a mid-generation console, but the Scorpio is a next-generation console. Now, before we knew about the Slim, they were running with this. They were saying, "Oh, the Xbox the Scorpio is going to be more powerful, and this and that. It's Microsoft's next generation to get out of this generation. Sony's just doing an incremental upgrade." And this is something that Colin has been saying as well. And he's saying that he doesn't like what Microsoft is doing. He doesn't like what either one of them are doing, but he said he's more sympathetic, or he feels a little more soft about what Sony's doing because their upgrade isn't so huge. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if we can curse on YouTube anymore. Oh, my bad. Anyway, but yeah, so they were running with this. They were saying that the Scorpio's the next generation console, and the Neo isn't. I don't get that. I mean, Microsoft and Sony were saying the same things. This is our mid-generation console. This is not a new generation console. They're both saying the same things. It's just one is more powerful than the other. And it's always been like that every generation. There's always one, or every console that comes out, there's always one that's stronger than the other. Or two stronger than, there's always one that's stronger than the other. That's just the situation here. Xbox is going to have a stronger system. And I don't think the fanboys can handle that. So they're trying to put the Scorpio in a whole new generation, but and say that it's supposed to compete with the PlayStation 5 and all that kind of stuff. But now the Slim is out. Now that the whole argument is gone now, because Xbox has a Slim and PlayStation has a Slim. They both have Slims, and they're both coming out with a mid-generation console. So that argument is gone. That was one of the arguments that Colin was making. He was spreading that, and his followers and all that kind of stuff were spreading it to other people. Another misconception is that Microsoft, well, going along with the whole this is a new generation for Xbox, they were saying that the original Xbox lasts only 4 years. And so this is normal for Xbox to do this. It's normal for them to have a new generation every 4 years. Now, and this is something Colin was saying. He straight up said this, and I don't know how many followers they have, but that's completely untrue. Microsoft did not. The original Xbox didn't last for 4 years just because Microsoft wanted the generation to be over. Like they're trying to say they're doing with this generation. Let me explain to you why Microsoft moved on from the original Xbox. The reason why they moved on from the original Xbox was because they struck a deal with NVIDIA. Okay, and I don't know if someone didn't read the fine print or what, but the issue was that usually with these with chip makers like AMD and NVIDIA and stuff like that, they strike deals with Microsoft and Sony or whoever, Nintendo, to where they'll create the same chip but make it smaller, right? So with the original Xbox, they couldn't. I'm sorry. Let me go back a little bit. I'm all over the place right now, but I'll just tell you guys the is to make it cheaper for the developer, for the company, and also make it more efficient, right? And in order to make a Slim, things have to get smaller, things have to get better, things have to get more efficient. Basically, with the original Xbox, Microsoft was already losing money on the original Xbox. And so with the deal with NVIDIA, they wouldn't allow Microsoft to get their next updated chips, or they never created them. And so Microsoft was pretty much losing, I think, billions and billions of dollars on the original Xbox because they couldn't make a Slim. They couldn't make it slim. They couldn't make it more efficient, and they were never going to make a profit off of it. So they got rid of it. I mean, they didn't get rid of it, but they moved on. They moved on to the Xbox 360, which I believe used AMD And then from there, they were able to, get a smaller chip, make a slim Xbox, and they eventually started making money off of it. And so that's the reason why the original Xbox disappeared, is because of the deal that they struck with Nvidia. And that's that. It wasn't because Microsoft wanted to skip over the generation, not because it's normal for Microsoft or any of that stuff. And again, this is coming from Colin, Colin, well, I can't pronounce his last name, Moriarty or whatever it is. This is coming from Colin. And he's spreading this misinformation to his followers. And they're spreading it to everybody else. And so back to my point, basically I feel like if you don't see the bias in the media and why this stuff is happening, I just think you're being naive. Yes, there's a bias. There has been a bias. There's a bias last generation. There's a bias this generation. It's slowly dwindling because Microsoft is doing better things, but it's there. Oh, and another example. Someone wrote, someone has a review of the Xbox Slim and the PlayStation 4 Slim. Now, we can all agree that from what we know, the Xbox Slim has improved on everything that was wrong with the original Xbox, One. They've upgraded features. They made it smaller. They improved everything, right? You have the PlayStation Slim, from what we know, has taken a thing away. They've taken the port, the optical port. They've taken that away. People are saying that it's ugly. I don't think it's ugly. I think it's just a smaller PS4. That's just what I think. I don't think it's ugly at all. But yeah. So basically, and this person who they do have the PS4 Slim. They gave the PS4 Slim a 90 and gave the Xbox Slim an 80. Now the Xbox Slim has HDR. It has 4K streaming, has a 4K Blu-ray player in it. It's smaller and it's more efficient. Okay, the new PlayStation is smaller. It has removed a feature, and it has a update. They both have updated controllers. But you give the PlayStation a 90 and the Xbox an 80. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on home with me. Come on home with me, please. But anyway, this is Psycho Gamer, and I have a few more videos to upload. Actually, fuck it. Let's just go into it right now. Actually, let me go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and make a separate video about this. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream right now. And this is Psycho Gamer, and I'm out.